I've got a quick favour to ask you before we get going today. You may have noticed that Love in Life has always been completely ad-free, and I would really love to keep it that way. So instead of adding sponsors and ads, I have set up a super easy way for you to support the show for less than one Starbucks a month. As a thank you, you'll also get my Monday morning pep talk, a short exclusive audio drop every Monday morning to give you a bit of inspiration for the week ahead. Sometimes it will be a little energy reset or a bit of a motivation boost. It's such a small way to give back, but it makes such a difference to me. And it just means that I can keep pouring my heart and soul into this podcast for you. Before we go into today's episode, I just want to thank the first of you who have already generously signed up. It means so much. So whether you just want to support the show and thank me, or maybe you want a bit of Monday morning Lisa talk, you can either click on the link in the show notes, or if you listen on Apple, you can simply click on one of the episodes that already has a little padlock on it. Thank you so much. Now let's get on with today's episode. Welcome to Love in Life, a guide to a positive mindset. I'm your host, Lisa. I'm a mindset and energy coach, and each week you'll discover mindset shifts, energy practices, and real life tools to help you feel more confident, calm, and in flow, because you deserve to love the life you're creating. I'm so glad you're here with me. Let's get going on today's episode. Have you ever had one of those mornings where everything feels off? Things aren't working, your mood is flat, and it just doesn't feel right. You just want to cancel everything. That was me this morning. I had a session for my magnetic manifestation program, and honestly, I didn't feel ready. For a moment, I almost rearranged, but I didn't. I showed up anyway, and it turned out to be one of the best ones yet. Welcome back to Love in Life. Thank you so much for joining me again. Before we get going on today's episode, let's just take a look and see where the biggest amount of downloads was last week. And last week, that place was Adelaide in Australia, closely followed by Bristol. So hey to you guys. Hey to everybody. Thank you so much for all of your feedback, all of your messages. I really, truly appreciate every single one of them. So back to today's content. Every Thursday at the moment, I am holding my manifestation program, and this morning just didn't start well at all. That's not true. It started well. I got up nice and early and did my planning. I work best when I plan most of my content on the day, if not just slightly before. But I got up nice and early this morning, started to plan my content, and a couple of hours into my morning, there was a dog-related disagreement, shall we say, and it put me in such a foul mood. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to be able to deliver this session in the way that I want to. You know, it just wasn't going to plan. Felt really out of flow. And I was just worried that I didn't have the right energy. And for a moment, I seriously considered rearranging, because I don't want to show up half-heartedly. I always want my energy to feel good, and I want to feel aligned, because that is what I am teaching people to do. But something said to me, just show up anyway and see what happens. So that's what I did. I went ahead, I got my head straight and delivered the best session. It was such a good feeling afterwards. Like, I felt absolutely buzzing after. And it just reminded me that sometimes we think we need to wait until we're ready, but actually that feeling of being ready doesn't always come before the thing. Sometimes it comes because we do the thing. So one thing I've learned is that it's not about pushing yourself through every time you feel off. It's about learning to listen. So before I do anything, I do a little energy check with myself. And I ask, am I feeling low because I'm genuinely tired, burnt out, needing rest? Or am I feeling off because I'm doubting myself, scared of not being good enough? Or am I making an excuse? So the difference between those two things, if you think about it, is it something in my body or is it something in my mind? So there is a big difference between your body needing to rest and avoiding growth, avoiding putting yourself out there. When it's time to rest, you can feel it in your body. You feel heavy. You feel like your energy feels flat, but there's still a sense of calm underneath. But when it's resistance or fear, it feels more like noise, thoughts, self-doubt, what ifs, guilt, or pressure that says you should be better than this, you should do this. And when you can tell the difference between your body, what your body's telling you and what your mind is telling you, that decision gets a lot easier. And that's why it only took me a moment to talk myself into doing the session today. Like, I used to think I had to be in the perfect energy for everything, for anything that I did. Whether that's record a podcast, run a session, post on social media. But what I've realised is that often your energy meets you there whilst you're doing it. And as soon as I started talking to my group today, I felt the shift. I felt like that fog had lifted, like straight away. That fog, that fuzziness had lifted, that doubt had lifted. Because I think that's what I was feeling, like doubt. Am I gonna deliver the session they deserve? That's doubt. That's my mind talking. So that's when I knew not to listen to it. That feeling of connection when I spoke to the group, when I joined the group, that is my purpose. That is my driving factor all the time. And it completely realigned me. And sometimes we wait for alignment before we take action, but actually taking action sometimes creates the alignment. So the more you practice this, the more you begin to trust yourself, to know when to listen and when to lead. You don't need to second guess every dip in energy. Sometimes your intuition is saying, slow down, rest. And sometimes it's saying, you've got this. This wobble is just fear. And the only way to learn the difference is through experience, is through sometimes pushing yourself through those moments when you show up, even if you don't feel like it, even if you are unsure, and look back and realise that was my fear talking, not my intuition. Every time you do that, every time you notice that, you build more trust in listening to yourself. So whether that's showing up for a client, showing up at work, showing up for family, or maybe even friends, they don't need your energy to be perfect all the time. They just need your presence. And I think the amazing thing is that by showing up anyway, you send a message to your subconscious that says it's safe for me to take action even when I don't feel 100%. It's safe to be imperfect. It's safe to trust myself, because that is how confidence grows. That is how we shift our energy, by not waiting to feel ready, but by deciding to show up anyway. So maybe, whether that's today, sometime this week, next week, when you find yourself next in that space, debating whether to do the thing or not, just take a breath, check in and ask yourself, do I need rest right now, or am I resisting? And either answer is okay, but just know that sometimes the magic happens because you showed up, even when you didn't feel ready. And it really was an amazing session today. Looking back, possibly part of the resistance for me was because I went a little bit rogue today. The session today was about telling more of my manifestation journey. It was about giving my exact process. So I didn't need to plan as much. I had a few notes, but I thought this is going to go so much better if I'm like telling authentic, relatable stories from my heart. So I didn't have that much written down. And maybe that was part of the resistance. But it turns out that I can totally trust myself to go rogue, to go without knowing exactly what I'm going to say. And actually, I would love to read you out some feedback that I've had so far from the program. So the feedback here is there are so many manifesting ways, teachers, versions, and it can be quite overwhelming and mind-boggling too. I love that you put things across in a way that gives real clarity and that I can relate to. A word I would use to describe the course so far is understanding, because that's what you've created here for me. So yeah, I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit nervous about delivering this course because I've never taught manifestation before. Do I class myself as a teacher? I guess I probably am. I don't class myself as that, but I guess I probably am. But my sessions I normally do are coaching. People find the answers. People have the answers within themselves, and I just help them find them. Whereas this is me teaching my understanding of something. So this is completely different than anything else I've ever, any other course that I've delivered before. So, of course, there will be some resistance. But by pushing through that, has helped me receive feedback like that, and it just makes it all so worthwhile. I will be running the course again in the future. If anybody would like to learn more about manifesting and learn my exact manifesting process, I just want to give a little shout out to a new listener from Colorado. So this is for Amy, who messaged me recently to say that she's been enjoying the self-care episodes, but also that the recent episodes on resisting change have really helped to adapt to changes going on in her life at the moment. So thanks so much, Amy, for reaching out. And I'm so glad that these episodes are helping you through this transition at the moment. Keep listening, keep sharing. I really truly appreciate it. If this episode has helped you today, or if you can think of somebody who this topic might help, please feel free to share it. I would love you to share it. Okay, I will see you next week. Have an amazing week, and until then, keep loving life. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, rate, and if you're listening on Apple, as 95% of you do, review. It really helps the podcast reach more people who are ready to shift their mindset and raise their vibration. And if you know someone who would benefit from today's episode, feel free to share it with them. Until next time, keep loving life and know that I'm sending you so much love.